Greetings. So now I'd like to talk about the eternal return through the vision and the enigma, sometimes called the vision and the riddle. This is when Zarathustra is on a ship with some sailors, and he poses the riddle to them. First he tells the story of the dwarf and himself climbing a mountain. And the dwarf is always he's always trying to discourage him. Thou stone of wisdom, thou threwest thyself high, but every stone must fall. So this is the dwarf, and the dwarf is the last man. And every stone must fall. And so Zarathustra has to challenge this. Halt, dwarf, said I, either I or thou. I, however, am the stronger of the two. Thou knowest not mine abysmal thought. It couldst not, thou not endure. And this is the thought of the, he's going to call it the moment here. We're looking at the eternal return again. So it's the idea, now I've said this before, the eternal return is sort of subtle because it tends to think of time as circular, obviously, right? But in a way, it is a straight line, but it's that there's not much new happening on it. It's that the universe is constantly reconstituting itself within an infinite time. As time and space don't interact in his philosophy the same way they do in maybe modern cosmology. But we still have to think about this because it still has existential merit, and it still has merit for Nietzschean philosophy. Yeah, the dwarf says time itself is a circle. So Zarathustra is going to challenge this idea that because time is a circle, it's not worth doing anything. Okay. Then suddenly did I hear a dog howl near me. Had I ever heard a dog howl thus? My thoughts ran back, yes, when I was a child in my most distant childhood. Then did I hear a dog howl thus, and saw it also with hair bristling, its head upwards, trembling in the stillest midnight, when even dogs believe in ghosts. So it excited my commiseration. For just then went the full moon, silent as death, over the house. Just then did it stand still, a glowing globe at rest on the flat roof, as if on someone's property. So we're moving towards the loneliest moment, right? You recall in the gay science, it was the demon comes to you in your loneliest, your darkest moment, your most lonely. And truly, or it's verily here, verily, what I saw the like had I never seen. A young shepherd did I see, writhing, choking, quivering with distorted countenance, and with a heavy black serpent hanging out of his mouth. Had I ever seen so much loathing and pale horror on one countenance? He had perhaps gone to sleep. Then had the serpent crawled into his throat. There had it bitten itself fast. My hand pulled at the serpent, and pulled in vain. I failed to pull the serpent out of his throat. Then there cried out of me, bite, bite. So there's this change in strategy, right? What if you just say yes to the pain of life and the eternal return? Bite its head off. So cried it out of me, my horror, my hatred, my loathing, my pity, all my good, bad, cried with one voice out of me. Ye daring ones around me. So then he's addressing the sailors again. Solve the enigma. What did I then behold in parable? And who is it that must come someday? Who is the shepherd into whose throat the serpent thus crawled? Who is the man into whose throat all the heaviest and blackest will thus crawl? The shepherd, however, bit, as my cry had admonished him. He bit with a strong bite. Far away did he spit the head of the serpent, and sprang up. No longer shepherd, no longer man, a transfigured being, a light being, surrounded being that laughed. Never on earth laughed a man as he laughed. And what is the what is the name of the text we first encounter the eternal return in? It's the gay science, the joyful wisdom in some translations. So this is the joy of Nietzsche, and I'll add some of my own interpretations as well. Oh, my brethren, I heard a laughter, which was no human laughter, and now gnawed athirst at me, a longing that is never allayed. My longing for that laughter gnaweth at me. Oh, how can I still endure to live, and how can I endure to die at present? So, the shepherd is Zarathustra himself, or it's even the reader, if you want to get more, meta on things. So he's had this great moment of overcoming, and it both affirms life for him. How could he endure to die? And how can he endure to live? Because he knows this is the strongest moment of his life. So how can you endure to know that that's already passed, but through the eternal return, obviously. So obviously very simple concepts here. And yeah, it's interesting that he picks a shepherd as his hero. Zarathustra in this work is sort of trying to be a shepherd of man, although he's looking for a very specific flock. He's not like a Christian preacher trying to going to a distant land, trying to get everyone to get baptized. He's looking for a very specific crowd. This is a small group of sailors he's telling this to. The dwarf, I think we know, is the last man. I think I said that already. Shepherd is interesting for another reason, because it's a being that it sort of embodies the will to power. And like, hear me out, right? Like, why not? Why not? It's my channel. So the shepherd cares for beings. He's, in a sense, he's the master of the sheep, but he's also, its protector. So he's that embodiment of the will to power, but he's also, it's not really that intimidating a creature, right? It's the shepherd. And this is, I think, the way Nietzsche wants us to live in harmony with the world, while still having both the joy and the responsibility of dealing with the eternal return, dealing with an existence worthy of us, worthy of this world, not Plato's real world. So I guess I'll do some concluding thoughts on Nietzsche just in case, but as most of you know, I'm sure, he suffers a breakdown at 44. He lives another 11 years, but he dies in a sanitarium. So his philosophy sort of doesn't get complete. It doesn't really even get close to being complete. He gets this is 1883, Gay Science 1882. So this is really just setting up what he wants to do. So to finish Nietzsche, you really almost have to go into the 20th century, and I don't know if I feel like it's worth my time more so to do that, go to some of the phenomenologists like Husserl, Heidegger, or if I should just do a deeper dive into Nietzsche. I'm, sort of speaking to myself because I don't know what you care about. It's only another week or two, but let me know. I think I might look at Husserl, or I might look at more of Nietzsche. We might look beyond Zarathustra to beyond good and evil, to beyond good and evil, to genealogy of morals.